Hello, this is Carrie. I'm here to present my action plan to reduce new teacher turnover in an urban community. This design-based research plan is based on my experiences working as a new teacher and my observations working in an urban district. My problem of practice is this. Windham High School experiences a high rate of teacher turnover, especially with first-year teachers, in spite of their participation in team. I was shocked when I first started working at Windham High School at the amount of turnover that we have every year. In fact, when I started 3 years ago, there were 10 new staff members, and of those 10, only 4 of us remain employed there. So my goal is to increase teacher retention rates at Windham High School by supplementing TEAM, the State Department of Ed New Teacher Induction Program. All of the research that I've conducted bears the same message. The consequences of high teacher turnover are detrimental, especially in low-performing, high-poverty schools. Many of these schools struggle to close the student achievement gap because they never close the teaching quality gap. There are so many demands placed on teachers, and even more so for those who work in marginalized communities. I believe we can address this problem through a highly structured new teacher induction program. So, my rationale. In order to reduce high teacher turnover in our school community, we have to look at what the research says about effective induction programs that will reduce our teacher turnover. Repeatedly, 3 common practices were encouraged. The first one is mentorship. Teachers who received the support of a mentor were less likely to leave teaching, and that was reported by Carver Thomas and Sanders and Ronfeld and McQueen. Also, Reitman and Karg reported that the mentor-mentee relationship helped to create a positive effect on student success. However, sustained, rigorous support did not have to come from only one assigned mentor. And I'm hoping to incorporate a variety of mentors for our new teachers to observe. The second practice will be collaboration. Engaging in regularly scheduled collaboration with other teachers reduced the risk of leaving by about 43% compared to those teachers who did not participate in various induction activities. And that was reported by Smith and Ingersoll. And also, activities involving teacher collaboration had a strong impact, and that also came from the same study. The third practice will be targeted professional development. Research shows that teachers having the opportunity to observe exemplary teaching was determined to be one of the most influential and impactful professional development activities. And that's reported by Martin, Bulow, and Hoffman. Additional research has also shown that induction programs that are tailored to teachers' needs can greatly impact their decision to stay in their schools. And that's reported by Martin, Bulow, and Hoffman, and Smith and Ingersoll. And what I'd like to do is have new teachers observe mentor teachers and experienced teachers who might demonstrate a strength or a challenge area that new teacher is working on. In Windham, we've had a loosely structured mentor system that is centered on supporting new teachers as they work through the team modules. However, it is not enough, and research supports this. For example, each additional type of new teacher support was associated with an average decrease in the odds of leaving teaching by up to 22%. And that's reported by Ronfeld and McQueen. My research questions. Number 1, what are the effects of new teachers observing highly effective veteran teachers? I propose a targeted professional development that includes our new teachers observing teachers who demonstrate strengths in a challenge area. In the second question, what aspects of new teacher monthly meetings promoted teacher collaboration and feelings of support? So new teachers, we know they want to connect with and learn from other educators, and I have a plan in place to address this. This is the logic model, and it's centered around 3 core activities: new teachers observing a variety of different mentor teachers, our instructional coach observing our new teachers on a regular schedule, and monthly meetings where our new teachers can connect with our first and second year teachers, as well as school mentors. I have tried to bring a highly structured new teacher induction plan by including the amount of time that is expected for each type of observation and the number of meetings that are attended. And so you can see in the outputs, I'm looking for 8 hours for new teachers to observe other veteran teachers. In terms of instructional coaches observing new teachers, I'm looking for 10 hours. And then I'm hosting 8 new teacher meetings throughout the school year. So we're looking at about 8 hours of meetings, maybe a little less than 8 hours. So that leads us to our short-term outcomes, which will be teachers reporting moderate levels of self-efficacy and support, and then observation feedback that shows specific areas of improvement. Our long-term outcomes, obviously we want to see teachers reporting high levels of self-efficacy and high levels of support. And also we'd like to see our observation feedback showing an improvement in a minimum of 4 attributes. So the overall impacts, new teachers will report high levels of support and high levels of self-efficacy. The instructional coach will report improvement in a minimum of 4 attributes, and there will be an increase in new teacher retention at Windham High School. So here is the data collection plan for this project. The collection plan for the impact data includes statistics from central office in terms of teacher turnover. This will be done at the onset of the project and then conducted a year later. I believe this to be the most reliable and valid data that I will be collecting because the numbers are static and cannot be interpreted in any other way. The other data that is collected is the feedback from observations that the instructional coach will collect. This is reliable data because the instructional coach is well versed in using the rubric to identify strengths and challenge areas for the teacher. It is important that the same instructional coach collect the data so that the feedback is consistent, which will increase its reliability. In terms of the process data, it includes a structured interview and a structured survey that will be administered quarterly. The survey will include a rating scale that will increase its reliability because it does not rely on the researcher's interpretation of the results. The interview, however, will have to be coded in such a way to reduce my personal biases. For example, I will need to structure the questions in such a way that the participants feel comfortable answering the questions honestly. I'll need to look at specific language that demonstrates positive experiences as well as negative experiences. And the same measures will need to be conducted for the new teacher end of year reflections so that I'm not imparting my hopes and wishes into the study. The timeline and work plan is pretty straightforward. In August, I will be meeting with our district team director and our admin staff at the high school to share this plan and get their input. September, I will have plenty to do. I'll be sharing this plan with our school-wide team trade mentors and soliciting input. I'll be meeting with the instructional coach to share cycles of observations and methods of feedback, and then meeting with all new teachers to establish meeting schedules and protocols for observations. And I'll be doing that with admin. And then finally in September, beginning cycles of observations and feedback, and that's the new teachers observing others and the instructional coach observing the new teachers. October through May will be continued cycles of observations and feedback, the new teachers and the instructional coach. We will be conducting monthly meetings. I will be analyzing monthly evaluation of effectiveness of meetings and observations and make adjustments as needed. And I'll be collecting survey and interview data quarterly in October, January, March, and May. And I will be analyzing the process and impact data quarterly and making adjustments as needed. At the end of May will be the final evaluation of the data. And then in September of next year, I will be looking at statistics from central office to see if the plan was effective in reducing teacher turnover. Contingency plans. One possible problem, a lack of buy-in from our team-trained mentors. And one possible solution is soliciting other veteran teachers for observations or identifying other mentors in the district. Another problem, not enough time for our new teachers to observe other teachers. And I can request sub-coverage for the new teachers. I can request permission for the new teacher to skip a program meeting perhaps so that he or she can conduct an observation. Another problem could be a loss of our instructional coach due to cuts in staff. And a solution, I can request team mentors conduct a portion of the observations. And I can request assistance from other 092 staff members in the building. I can also use data from the teacher evaluations. Another problem, new teachers report monthly meetings to be burdensome. I can adjust the length of the meetings or the frequency of the meetings. Finally, the evaluation and reflection plan. I believe that the data collection is in alignment with the research questions. So if I'm looking at the effects of a highly structured plan of new teachers observing highly effective veteran teachers, obviously I'm going to use the statistics from central office to see if we reduced our teacher turnover rate, looking at growth in the rubric for effective teaching, and then looking at the data from the interviews, the surveys, and the end of year reflection. Also, the second research question, what aspects of new teacher monthly meetings promoted teacher collaboration and feelings of support? Structured interviews, structured surveys will help me with that, and as will the end of year reflection. And that's it. And I thank you for your time and I appreciate your feedback.